Family, this is going to be one of my quick ones, my quick lives. So, as y'all can see that there are a lot of protests going on right now. And welcome all, welcome. Share, like, subscribe. Make sure everybody come on in this room. I know it's late and a last minute live. A lot of people may not catch this until the replays. I got kind of home late today. My allergies are bothering me, y'all, so bear with me. So, y'all know how it is with the allergy season. I just took me a Benadryl, so that's why I know this is going to be real quick. But, y'all, and we'll probably talk about it deeper this week, freedom of speech and freedom of protest. So, a lot of college campuses are protesting against the war in Israel. And the biggest thing that's so interesting to me, when did it become illegal for freedom of protest, peaceful protest? And my biggest concern with these protests that something's going to happen where they're going to trigger it and make it seem like it's violent. And as soon as I said that, here comes a video. So it says Yale student stabbed in the eye during the protest. So let me see. We're going to play this video real quick. Like I said, y'all, we're going to get straight to the point. And bear with me again. It's allergy season. So my throat doing the most right now. I'm finna share it.
So that was the scene at Yale over the weekend. Anti-Israel protests turning violent, injuring our next guest. She wrote a column on this saying, quote, "I was stabbed in the eye at Yale. The school has allowed anti-Israel students to run roughshod over their most basic policies. Yesterday," she writes, "I paid the price for their inaction." Yale student Sahar Tartak needed hospital treatment for that injury. She is doing well now, which we're happy to say, and she joins us now. Sahar, welcome. It's good to have you with us. Your piece is very moving on this morning in the Free Press. Tell me a little bit about what was going on when you were there. What did you see all around you? And then what happened?
Sure, of course. So over the past week or so at Yale, anti-Semitic student protesters have taken over a central plaza on our campus, setting up a tent encampment, among other things, pictures to commemorate terrorists. And this culminated in multiple nights of overnight encampment in the central plaza and protests with hundreds of people. I think it was 500 when I came on Saturday night. And as soon as I was identified with my friend who wears a black hat as visibly Orthodox Jewish students, I was immediately blockaded by protest organizers. And everywhere I walked, there was a line of protest organizers standing in front of me, linking arms, so that I could not walk forward. And the rest of the students at the rally noticed this, the other 500 students at this violent rally, and they saw me, and so they began to taunt me as well because they recognized that I was something that they view as an enemy. And finally, the taunting continued and escalated, and I was just there to record them. And the taunting escalated until somebody waved a Palestinian flag in my face and then jabbed me in my left eye. And from there, when I tried to run after him, the human blockade of protest organizers continued to stand in front of me to stop me from catching my assailant. And so I went to the hospital.
Yeah, it's extraordinary. It's stunning. We're just looking at the banner that they're holding up on liberation, and there's a great irony because right behind it is a memorial on campus to those who fought in. See the letters right behind this banner. They say, "In memory of the men of Yale who, true to our traditions, gave their lives that freedom might not perish." What do you think about that? And what do you think about what the leadership at Yale is upholding today?
Yeah, so this plaza includes a World War II memorial. And a couple nights ago, hundreds of students cheered and screamed "Viva, Viva Palestina" as they tore down the American flag from the flagpole, and it took days for them to face minimal repercussions. Today there were some arrests, and then many of the students who were arrested were then released to return to a protest.
You know, we're looking at these scenes, and prominent in many of them in these videos are watermelons. If you could explain the meaning of that to us, and also the chanting of "from the river to the sea." We know studies were done back in December that showed that many of the people who were saying it had no idea what river and what sea. Sahar.
Sure. So we've seen the watermelon all over campus. It's supposed to be a symbol basically against the Jewish people, and in favor, like all the other symbols that these students are using, in favor of violent, terroristic acts against Jews in the state of Israel as a form of liberation. I mean, these students have chanted.
So I'm going to stop right here. She said terroristic acts to the people of Israel. But I mean, I'm just going to tell you what the news has been capturing. They're consistently capturing the bombing in Gaza, and then the what's going on in West Bank. So, I mean, truly, when you look at it from a war perspective, Israel has the upper. They pretty much had the upper hand throughout the war. It's. I don't see as any acts being committed towards them in Israel more so than what's been going on in Palestine. One thing is a war. We know wars happen, but there's a level of code when it comes to warfare that the United Nations agreed upon, and that's a part of, I guess, the Geneva Convention, where hospitals, civilians are not to be targeted. targeted. Children are not to be targeted. Schools are not supposed to be on the targeted. Now, war happens. People go to battle. We know this, but there are certain rules that and boundaries based on United the Geneva Convention that they're not allowed to cross the line on. And even when you look at the situation with the food organization that was trying to take food to the individuals that were, I think it was in Rafah, I can't remember if it was Gaza. They were trying to get food to them, and they ultimately got their vans bombed. So another thing is, any peace group that's just trying to do what they're supposed to do, like Salvation Army, different groups like that are off limits. And consistently we're seeing them attacked. Now, it's one thing if you want to attack your enemy, but there are certain people that you're not supposed to attack. So when she said that, I said, wait a minute, hold on. When I look and see what's going on as far as the warfare and what's been said on the news and what's been said on TikTok, it's I don't see what she's saying. So I keep playing.
There is only one solution: intifada revolution,
That's right.
Which is a direct reference to uprisings that included suicide bombs in Israel and killed civilians. After October 7th, they absolutely celebrated and, of course, justified these events en masse. Yeah, I know those students. Sorry, I just recognized one of them from class. Like, this is really, it's really painful to realize that your peers have joined the Nazi party.
It's stunning and very personal for you. It
How do you do that? She's actually slandering them. Nowhere have they said anything anti-Semitic. They're ultimately saying, stop bombing the innocent children. Stop bombing the women. Stop putting the civilian in the middle of your fight. I'm trying to figure out, why did she call them Nazis? When you look at the essence of majority of these protests, they're saying, stop the war, stop this, because you're killing casualties, innocent people, children. So I'm trying to figure out, and this is where propaganda comes into play, and it's not showing you the true narrative, where you're saying, when you ask them what their protest is about, it's not anti anything, it's pro-life. They're saying, stop killing these children. There are babies. There were a set of babies that were premature, that was born in a Palestinian hospital, that died eventually. That's what they're saying. They said, stop coming after the innocent people. So for her to say that, I'm just like, wow. You know, the essence of, and that's what this is what kills me, is this is what this country was based upon: freedom of speech, freedom to peaceful protest. This is what we've been. This is what we've this whole country is based on. But if you say anything in reference to stop doing that, you automatically get tagged. You automatically get labeled as you're anti-Semitic. Tell me what anti-Semitic term that anyone has said. What they're saying is, look, stop killing the innocents. That's all they're saying. That's all they're saying. So I keep playing.
I feel for you, and we're glad that your eye is okay. I know that your mother had her eye injured in Iran in a not dissimilar situation. Thank you for your bravery. Thanks for coming on and talking to us today, Sahar. Sahar Chatak.
Thank you so much. God bless you.
You as well.
So let's look at the comments. I like looking at the comments and seeing what the comments are saying. Comments a little bit different. Comments say you have a right to protest your government not harassing us, assault people walking along, going about their lives. The right of protest does not include engaging in criminal activity. To all the women in the protest, what are women's rights like in Gaza? So they're going to flip it and try to make it a women's rights thing. Just watch it, y'all. I'd sue Yale for allowing valid. So what they're going to do is turn the narrative and make it seem like any form of protest against this war is going to be literally labeled as an act of terrorism or violence or inciting violence. When people protested the Vietnam War, people even protested some of the world wars. People protest a lot. That's just how this country is built upon. Heck, kids will protest the lemonade stand if they wanted to, if they didn't want it up. You get what I'm saying? Because that's what embodies the constitutional right of the citizens of the United States to say, I have a right to stand for something. And again, I looked at her. I think it was her who said she got her eye hurt. And I'm looking at her, I'm like, I don't see your eye being hurt. Maybe they I don't know. But they're gonna criminalize anyone that speaks against anything that anything in reference to pro-Palestine. That's not fair. That's not fair. People have a right to state and speak their minds. People have a right to say, stop doing what you're doing. That's a part of everyday rights of any citizen. As long as I'm not harming anybody and not hurting anybody, you should be able to have a right to say, I'm not in agreement with this war. I'm not in agreement with where this war is going. I'm not in agreement with sending Ukraine, Israel, and anybody any money right now when this US economy is falling to its knees. People are homeless, people are without food, people are without decent health care. And you're sending money and aid, billions upon billions of dollars over there, and everybody here is hurting. Now, keep in mind, y'all know I'm like, you know what? The ship is sinking. Let's go with it. I'm done. I don't care what goes on. That's on them. But yet and still, I just feel some kind of way because you're talking about a kid that would that used to believe in protests. I didn't agree with some we had going on in the neighborhood. It was these. What's so funny is I've always been one of those as a little kid that understood protest. And we was little kids. I remember this story, and I'm segueing into this to bring a little humor to the conversation. It was these ladies that lived in our neighborhood. These were, white ladies, and you were in a neighborhood that had transitioned from predominantly white to predominantly black, and it was a few speckles of white people still in the neighborhood. Well, the ladies insisted that we could not even walk in front of their yard on the public side of the street. We was a problem. We was enemy number one. They would stand in front of their door and spew out, get from in front of my yard. Well, we got mad. I said, let's get some posters up. We did posters and said, I have a freedom to walk on the street. And we were marching up and down their front yard until our parents came to get us. And my mom said, have you lost your mind? Go somewhere and sit down. But yeah, I've always been one of those. I'm an advocate of protest. Any protest is healthy. Protest is healthy. Protest is healthy. Even, you know what? I didn't see them react this much to even the Charlottesville's event when the people were protesting, and then it did turn ugly. It didn't hit the way it's hitting now. It's like you are being criminalized. People are losing jobs. People are being kicked out of school. People are losing everything just because they simply saying, I don't agree with this war. Come on, Rio. I don't agree with the number. And I'm going to go to Democracy Now! This is why I like Democracy Now! I watch Democracy Now! Faithfully every morning as I'm commuting to work. So let me look at what Democracy Now! If y'all enjoying this, tell me yes. I don't want to lose that page because I want to go back to that. Let me see. No, Rio. One thing I've learned about Democracy Now!, she knows how to just tell the facts. And I think that's why they haven't shut her down, because she's not taking any sides. None whatsoever. She's just saying, this is what's going on. I got a lot of respect for that lady and how she carried, how she does her news reports. And I said, that's the best way to do it. So I'm going to play a little bit of Democracy Now! Fair use. I'm going to just let her know that I like watching her stuff. So I just wanted to share it, and I'm gonna share it with. And y'all get past this. She doesn't look like us. Some saints will be like, well, I mean, news is news. I'm not finna go through all that. Now, come on, stop it before y'all even get started. So, here we go.
We begin here in New York, where Columbia University has canceled in-person classes today as campus protests over Israel's war on Gaza enter a sixth day. Classes will be held online today. The protests have swelled after the arrest last week of over 100 students who'd set up an encampment to call for the school to divest from Israel. Organizers say at least 50 students have been suspended from Barnard, 35 from Columbia. A growing number of Columbia and Barnard alumni, employees, and guest speakers have also publicly.
So the root of the problem is they're protesting that the school divest from Israel. That's the problem. You know what I'm saying? That's a problem right there. That's what they are seeing as a problem. So I'm like, okay. I was listening to this morning, and I said I was going to talk about it. So I'm going to continue on.
Condemned or announced they're boycotting the prestigious institutions. Over the weekend, solidarity protests and encampments also began on other college campuses here in New York City, at NYU, at the New School, as well as across the country, including at Yale, MIT, Tufts, Vanderbilt, and University of North Carolina, Chapel Hill. We're joined right now by two guests. In a moment, we'll speak with Columbia University professor Mahmoud Mamdani, who addressed students participating in the Gaza Solidarity encampment on Columbia's campus multiple times last week. But we begin with Jude Taha, Palestinian-Jordanian journalist and journalism student at Columbia University Journalism School. She's on Columbia's campus here in New York, where the student-led Gaza Solidarity encampment is still underway. She's joining us from her school at Columbia Journalism School right now. Welcome to Democracy Now!, Jude. Can you lay out what's happened over the weekend? What are people's demands? And the fact that today, the president, who all this happened a day after she testified before Congress, has shut down the university for in-person classes, all online today.
Thank you for having me. Right now, what we're seeing at Columbia is an unprecedented act of solidarity set up by students who initially set it up on the South Lawn and then were faced violent arrests and a lot of repression from administration and ended up moving to the opposing lawn. And what we're seeing right now is just swaths of people initially without tents, sleeping on the ground in sleeping bags, some of them without sleeping bags, on grass, outside in the cold, under the rain. And what we're seeing is just they have three solid demands. The first is divestment. The second is for Columbia to disclose their financial investments and their financial records, especially in relation to their workings with Israel. And the third is amnesty towards students. The students have been very clear in the fact that they are not moving, that they are very set in their demands. Some
Key thing she disclosed, they want to see the financials. They want to know, and I'm going to play it back for y'all, from the people in the back room that didn't hear it.
Is amnesty towards students. The students have been very clear in the fact that they have three solid demands. The first is divestment. The second is for Columbia to disclose their financial investments.
Divestment, and for Columbia to disclose their financial investments. Y'all see that? That's the problem right there. Like, they don't want to bring that. And I believe this is only me saying, I think that the problem is the financials. They like, we're not going to disclose that because, you know, they love to keep things secrets when it comes to them. So I'll leave it right there.
And their financial records, especially in relation to their workings with Israel. And the third is amnesty towards students. The students have been very clear in the fact that they are not moving, that they are very set in their demands. Some negotiations are happening from what I've heard from organizers at the encampment. However, nothing has been announced yet. I know there are a few things that came up yesterday that were a bit surprising, which was the repitching of the tents. Organizers have said that the administration is aware of the tents. However, that does not necessarily mean that they agree. Organizers held a town hall last night where they emphasized that obviously with an act of solidarity and act of protest as large as this, to take over the space in the lawn comes a level of risk. And they are very comfortable in that. They are making sure everyone is aware. There's transparency and there's just a community being built. And they are very clear in their demands. They have three top demands, first and furthermost, which is divestment.
So, Jude, if you can talk about the whole progression of what happened from President Shafiq testifying before Congress to these, I won't say unprecedented arrests. Over 100 students were arrested. But since, I think, 1968, the protests against the Vietnam War.
I think what had happened initially was students showed up at the lawn at around 4:30 a.m. They are members of a solidarity group called Columbia University Apartheid Divest, which is made up of many student groups. And they had been planning this for months, according to my interviews with organizers. They studied the 1968 protests, they studied the tactics used, and they were prepared to go. Initially, we did not know this as outsiders. The tents were set up and a lot of people were caught off guard. But this has been something that the organizers have planned for, especially in relation to Manu Shafiq's hearing. But what happened is after they set up tents, we quickly saw an outpour of support. Picket lines were forming, students were joining from outside. And initially what I saw to be like 40 to 50 students is now on the opposite lawn, nearly 100, 200 students coming in and out of the encampment. The arrests were shocking. However, what was truly inspiring to see is that students did not let that deter them. Shortly after the arrests were carried out and after protests were surrounding the lawn where the original encampment was at, students starting jumping into the opposing lawn and pitching up tents there. And this is a reaction not only to Columbia's silencing of students and the fact that students feel unheard, uncared for, and not represented well by the institution that they attend, but this is also very much so focused towards the ongoing genocide in Gaza and the way students are feeling, seeing the massacres happen every day with nearly over 30,000 people have been killed. Their frustration is that they are complicit in this and their university is complicit in this, and they want to make sure that their voices are heard, and they want to make sure that when what they're asking is met. And so this is inspired by the 1968 protests. They decided to follow course.
So I'll drop the link to that so you can watch the whole report. But ultimately, you hear that this originated from, I guess, the Vietnam War, this particular group, and they utilized this same machine that they utilized in protesting against the Vietnam War to say, we're going to protest against this. And when you hear the reasoning behind it, the protest isn't anti anything, it's anti killing innocent people, anti killing women, anti-killing innocent children, anti-killing innocent men, anti-killing. That's what they're fighting against. So ultimately, what I'm saying is, it never existed with us. I agree. I definitely agree. I definitely agree. But I just want to talk about that because the very system they created for themselves to be able to protest and fight is now beginning to turn on them, and they are dealing with what we have to deal with on a daily basis. I think I might be wrong. Don't mind being wrong. This is just my opinion in so many words. You know, our protests sometimes go unheard. No, nothing, no effort to reconcile or anything. They're going through the same thing because, in spite of all this protest, this country still was able to ship off money to Ukraine for their war, Israel and their war, and they added a little bit for Gaza. And then really they wrapped it up with, let's close TikTok now. So y'all, I said I wasn't going to be long. I just want to do this quick little thing so that, everybody can kind of be aware and do some research. I'll do something a little bit more in depth this week because y'all know I'm trying to get back active, trying to get back into the swing of things. And something I do want to do is start consistently reporting on certain things when it comes to the news and be consistent with it. I don't know how that schedule is going to look, but hopefully I can do a minimum of 2 days a week of just reporting on things because it's going to be so much to report on, y'all. Brace yourself. It's going to be so much to report on for the next year. The next year, we're going to see a lot happen. We're going to see a lot happen, especially with this war, especially with the economy, different things like that. We're going to start seeing a lot of things transpire. Great example, Niger. Guess what? U.S. soldiers and their army base got to be, or not army, but their military base got to go out of Niger. How do you think they're going to react to that? So I want a consistent report because this is what's been put on my heart to do this. And I'm going to consistently do this. Y'all, excuse me, I have allergy issues that are ridiculous right now. Only thing that can soothe it is Benadryl. I have hay fever. So, but y'all going to see me do a little bit more because it needs to be discussed. I want to do some live reporting, but time is not my friend. So since time is not my friend, I got a lot. I can barely make it, to throw some clothes in the laundry. I'm gonna just report from home, and eventually, hopefully, I can gravitate towards physically going and talking to people. But right now, let's just talk about what we got on hand and what's available. So I hope y'all have enjoyed this. I said this was gonna be quick, fast, in a hurry, so that I can let y'all know, is freedom of speech what we think freedom of speech is? Is that no more? I think it is. I think it's no more. I think it's freedom of speech if you don't speak on this. Another thing they're trying to do is lure Black people into the fight. I heard the report where some Israel supporter required that Oprah and Michelle Obama apologize. Apologize for what? It's just like, wow. So if you do not support the war, then you're anti-Semitic. Make it make sense. Make it make sense. It doesn't make sense. It doesn't make sense. But it is what it is. But I just know that I want to talk to y'all and tell y'all, be aware. Be careful of the language you say. Be careful of the words you say. Be very mindful of how you communicate, because people are looking for any hole, any way to get in, to build a narrative that's ultimately not true. People are losing jobs. I know some people that have lost jobs in this movement. I've seen the end result of some of this stuff. So just be very careful. But y'all, this is only gonna get interesting from here. I'm gonna be honest. Things are only gonna get interesting from here. We're gonna see more things transpire. So expect to see more of me. I'm back. Y'all may not see me for the next couple of days, but hopefully, if y'all do, understand that it's got to be some breaking news. So but thank y'all for joining me. Like I said, it's just gonna be hit it and quit it. I'm gonna put it out there, and I will say in the comment section, give me your views on what you think. What do you think we're headed? Well, this country's headed, not us, because I know Most High gonna come and do what he got to do. I'm gonna be with him. But what do you expect for them? What do you foresee for them? And just be respectful in the chat, because they watching the chat as well. Because what's going on now is not only are they trying to censor the protest, they're trying to censor your voice on YouTube. So just be very mindful of the verbiage that you say in the comment section, because they striking us for anything right now. So, all right, family, thank you so much for joining me. Like I said, it's gonna be quick. If you haven't watched it, if you're watching this in the replays, just add your comment. And I'll see y'all later on this week. Good night.